Hello enthusiasts, and welcome to Bavarian Enthusiast TV. I'm Will, and I really appreciate you checking out this video today. So today I'm going to be covering a walk around of my 1986 3.2 Carrera, not by me, but by my air-cooled mechanic. So I got a call from Charles, the guy who works on all my air-cooled Porsches, and he has had my 86 Carrera for a few days now. And he has invited me to come on over, and he's going to walk me around the car and kind of talk to me about what he's found. So I bought this car a few weeks back, maybe even like 2 months now. I don't know, time flies. But anyway, I've had it for a little while. I've had a chance to own the car and experience the car. Charles had not yet had a chance to go through it himself, and I like to do that after I buy a car, have my trusted guy go through it. So a couple weadweeks ago, I did discover I had a little bit of an issue with a leak in my sunroof. I got caught in a torrential downpour, and the thing, the headliner started to leak some water. The interesting thing about it was, though, when I bought the car down in Atlanta, Georgia, and drove it home, I drove through the rain, and it was pretty bad, and I had zero leaking. So anyway, I knew that by the time it started leaking the other day, it was time to take the car to the shop. So took it over to Charles, asked him to fix that. I also discovered a terrible kind of creaking noise that has started ever since the weather got cold. It's under the car, so I'm having him take a look at that. And he is also going to change the transmission fluid. So he's going to talk to me about how he's dealt with those issues, and I think he's also just going to kind of give me the overall take he has on the car. So I thought I'd ask you to join me today. Before I get into it, I would like to invite you to subscribe to my channel. It's all about air-cooled. It's all about classic BMW. It's all about, quite frankly, my, fanaticism about these classic German cars. So, with that said, let's see what Charles has to say. What's up?
I've been doing this my whole life, and I ran Porsche dealership sections for Porsche, so I knew a ton about these cars, only because I've owned them, and then while working there, I've done all my own work, and I observed stuff that's being done, and then, I just apply that knowledge, and I have such a deep understanding of these cars. I really like the older air-cooled. Since the 70s, I've been around these cars. So I have a really deep knowledge and a deep love for them. The only thing I have to do is, get all the seals on it. This seal, the rubber seal that's in the back here, that's going to be here. That's probably that UPS box that came. That is for you.
Beautiful.
Yeah, that should be this seal here. The other ones are here.
Okay.
Those pair of seals. But I just got to glue them into place. It's not an easy task. You got to take your time and get that. You got to get them even, because you'll look at it and go, well, that side's 1/8 longer than that side.
He thinks I'm like anal about my cars.
We all are. All right, so you have your fuse box, and you have a pair of fuses for high and low. And anyway, so they weren't getting any power, so you had these relays here that was hooked into the system to take some of the power off of this. They just do it a different way, all right? Especially when you put a higher voltage or amperage unit in there. Sometimes they take the weight off the fuses by doing it through a different fuse system. So anyway, it has the 2 units here. And I'm checking, and when you're doing the low beams and high beams, they're clicking, and I switched them, the relays, but I happen to have it out, and I happen to take and go, let me check power here where this red wire goes, and there's no power here. Okay, there's power in the line where it goes up, but there's no power here. And like, how can that be? And I'm checking now. It's driving me crazy because there's no power. That was in that that relay holder. But there's power. I go up a couple inches, in the wire, and I poke it, and there's power, and I go a little further, and power, and I go all the way. I don't know whether you can see this, but there's a dot.
Yes,
I right can see there.
The divot there. Right
and there was power there, but there was no power here. What? So yeah, I mean, there's wires sticking out here. It's crimped over the wires. There was power right there. There was no power. So I made a new one because I have these kind of things, and I'm just
so we're golden now.
Yeah, and everything worked. It's like, but why? There, I mean, right there, it has power. No power here.
So my mission in life is to bring you car problems that are going to take you hours to fix.
So when I first put the socket up in here, it was sloppy, like it was worn already because the fluid's been changed.
Okay, that's good to hear.
So I get in there, it's a little, but I mean, I put my smaller, bar on it, and it wouldn't move. It was like, no, and then I put, a 30-inch breaker bar on it, and it would move, and it goes crack. And what happened is it broke these pieces here away. I took and I drilled a hole in it. And I had to start grinding like around until you make the wall, the threaded wall, thin, so it becomes more pliable. And then I cut like 180 degrees out, 2 lines in it. And if you take your time, you can get it down to where you just are at the threads, like you'll see lines going across. And then I'll use like a chisel to catch a lip or something and start to tap on it, move it around, and eventually it'll crack because it's been weakened. And then it probably took me another 20 minutes to get the 2 halves out. So you had the squeak in the car, and I didn't know where the squeak was coming from because I couldn't experience it. I have a silicone grease that I took these off, and I put it on the inside and on the outside of this bushing, so it shouldn't squeak there. And there's some wetness here at this front crankshaft seal.
Yeah, that was a note.
I don't know of a car that doesn't leak there.
Right.
You put a new seal in there, you spend all the money, put a new seal in it, and I bet you they're not good for a year. They just leak there.
Yeah.
It's just the way it is.
What else is notable here?
And then I had mentioned about this arm here, okay?
Yes.
And you see how this arm still has cosmoline on it and stuff, and this one doesn't? I don't see anything wrong with the body anywhere.
Good.
But I notice stuff like that because that's why you pay me the big bucks. I notice stuff like that.
Did you hear that? Big bucks, apparently.
Yeah.
Okay, back at the home base here, and the wallet's definitely a little bit lighter. We took care of the issues, and we also kind of got some baseline knowledge of the car. So number one, the sunroof seal is much tighter now. He did a great job with that. There's a little bit of crackling when I'm driving the car coming out of the headliner. I don't know what that is. I'm thinking that, number one, it's cold here, but I'm also thinking that maybe that'll kind of settle out over time. So overall, pleased at least with what it looks like visually. The suspension squeak, thank you, is gone, at least for now. I mean, I replicated a lot of the conditions under which it happened before, and I haven't heard it. So, I'm sure, if you're watching this, you're into cars, I bet you've heard rattles and squeaks before that drive you nuts. And so thankfully this one is gone, at least for now. The biggest impact that this whole repair job had, though, is the change of the transmission fluid, man. I liked the 915 gearbox before. In fact, I did a video on that topic, so I'll put a card up for you if you want to go check that out. But I liked it before, but I really like it now. So it's definitely a lot smoother. It just feels like, the overall experience just feels better. So I didn't know it would have such an impact. Now, that part of the job did get expensive because the the drain bolt broke off or whatever. You saw what happened. But, there's a lot of labor involved. So it is what it is. Overall, pleased with my experience. Love Charles to death. I'll be using him, of course, in the future. And the last thing that I'll share with you, I'm always kind of torn about this. I've been giving this a lot of thought lately. Do I want to be transparent about the kind of money that these repairs cost?
It's like, do I want to share that or not? I'd love to hear your thoughts on that in the comments below. You know, part of me wants to share it so that you kind of have an understanding of what it might cost. Like if you're evaluating these cars and thinking through what it might be like to own one, it'd be good for you to know. But on the other hand, you know, frankly, I think it's like kind of, it's tasteless to share that kind of information. So let me know what you think. All that being said, I really want to thank you for watching this video today. Hope you found it interesting. If you enjoyed the video, please subscribe, and I do hope to see you next time. Thanks.